We've always tried to invite individuals and journalists to our conference who have a unique interest or a personal connection to our cause. And Robin Roberts is a perfect reflection of that. Though we all know her as the co-anchor Good Morning America, she's a cancer survivor and one of the world's leading lights for bone marrow awareness. Robin was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2007 and underwent surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. In 2012, she was diagnosed with MDS, otherwise known as myelodysplastic syndrome, a disease of the bone marrow, which many believe is a consequence of toxicity of the cancer treatments. What happens next made history.
Can lead to other serious medical issues, and that's what I'm facing right now. It is something that is called MDS. I didn't sleep much the night before, going over my head, you know, what I would say, worried about how it would be received. My big sister is a virtually perfect match for me, and she is going to be my donor. She's going to be my donor.
Match. Yeah. I have your back, sister.
I know that you do.
I had my EKG, I had my blood drawn.
That's it? Oh, wow. This is easy peasy.
Are you scared?
No, I'm not scared. I don't feel any fear about the procedure. I just totally trust that everything is going to work out as it should.
It's extremely humbling. So I am just filled with gratitude. It's very hard for me to accept. I'm used to being the giver, not used to receiving. But it's a great gift. It's a great gift. Thank you, Jesus. I don't remember. I was in another place. I was just, you have to remember, I had gone through 10 consecutive days of chemotherapy. I had nothing left. I don't hear anybody else. I don't see anybody else. I just see Dr. Giralt. And he starts inserting the syringe into a port I have in my chest. And I remember seeing tears. He has his mask on, but I remember seeing tears in Dr. Giralt's eyes. And I can see that his mouth is moving, that he's saying something.
I say a small prayer, a small saying that both my wife and my mother-in-law have taught me. Let God do his work and it will work. To me, it does capture the real sense of the moment. The way this finally evolves is a whole joint of events that may be beyond our control and is in the control of a power above us. And our role is to do the best we can with the instruments that we have. I think now is a good time to say, go Sally, go!
I have been waiting 174 days to say this. Good morning, America.
It is official now. Welcome back, Robin.
Yeah. Faith, family, and friends have brought me to this moment, and I am so full of gratitude.
After Robin announced her diagnosis, the number of people who signed up to be potential donors jumped 1,000%.
MDS is what used to be called pre-leukemia. It's a bone marrow and blood disorder. And I had to thankfully have my sister be a perfect match. And I didn't even know. I had never heard of MDS. I'd never heard of, I didn't know. Did you know you could donate your bone marrow? Your stem cells? Did you know that? Oh, okay, smarty pants, all right.
I have a bunch of smart people in the office.
You do. And BeTheMatch.org said they got a tremendous amount of response of people wanting to be a donor. You have the power to save a life and make somebody else's wish come true.
And now, without further ado, please welcome Robin Roberts, who shortly will be joined by her sister Sally Ann and her doctor Sergio Giralt, who's the Chief Adult Bone Marrow Transplant Service for Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York. Please welcome Robin.
Good morning. How's everyone? Got the stage to myself. What did I say? What did I do? Your Eminence, thank you. Robin, thank you very much. My goodness, who would have thought? Who would have thought when I began this journey? 2007, I had written a book, From the Heart, 7 Rules to Live By, where I shared the principles, those things that have gotten me through difficult times in life. Our parents, Colonel Lawrence Roberts, Lucy Marion Roberts, they taught their 3 daughters and son, their 4 children, the 3 Ds. Most families were learning about the 3 Rs, reading, writing, arithmetic. My family, it was all about, thank you, all about, you would think I know how to do this, being in television. Thank you. With my family, it was all about the 3 Ds, discipline, determination, and the Lord, the 3 Ds in our family. But I was sharing with people my rules to live by, and I was out asking people what gets them through difficult times in their life. And right about that time, I was asked to come back to Good Morning America because a dear friend and colleague, Joel Siegel, had passed away after a valiant battle with colon cancer. And we did a tribute show for him. And on the show, I happened to do a piece talking with his doctor who said, had Joel received a colonoscopy at the age of 50 instead of 53, that the outcome could have been different. And that Joel used his remaining years to tell people to be diligent about their health care and about how early detection can potentially save your life. And that's the story I did on Good Morning America that day. I went home that night and I stretched. I was very tired and I felt a lump in my right breast. And I remember our mother always saying to us, oh, we're lumpy people. We're lumpy people. And didn't think too much about it. And the next morning I woke up and it was still there. And I had transitioned with doctors, and you know how you go through that lapse period. I had moved from Connecticut to New York City, and I had a doctor's appointment for months later. But this lump, and I was thinking about the piece that I had done and how Joel had said early detection. So I called the doctor and said, I have an appointment in a few months, but I would like to try and get in earlier. I was speaking with the receptionist, and I didn't have a relationship with this particular doctor, and she said, I'm really sorry, we're booked. You're going to have to wait. And I wanted to say, don't you know who I think I am? Don't make me call Oprah Winfrey. I will call Oprah, and I will move this appointment up. But I didn't do that. I realized that she was just doing her job. I asked colleagues at ABC for recommendations. And again, I did not tell them about this lump. I just said, I just need to get a new doctor. And I went and saw a doctor, general practitioner, great doctor, just gave me the basic checkup. Just kind of look under the hood and kick the tires kind of exam. And I did not tell him about the lump in my breast. And toward the end of the exam, and he had given me a thorough exam, but a very general one, just getting to know me, I said, oh, Dr. Knapp, I have a lump here. And he said, in your business, that's called burying the lead. You should have led with that and told me that initially. And I said, well, I thought, well, if you don't find it, you don't find it. He immediately had me have a mammogram and an ultrasound. The mammogram came back perfect, but thankfully the ultrasound did detect the tumor, which turned out to be cancerous and turned out to be a very aggressive form of breast cancer, triple negative. And I went through surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. And I shared my story with the audience because it was something I did not want to do initially, and it was our dear mother who said, make your mess your message. Very blessed to have a job, colleagues, bosses who are so supportive, and healthcare, and knowing that not everybody who goes through these journeys has the same. And so I wanted to be their voice. And so I did that. And I went back, like many of us, went back to my life. It was fantastic. I did a music video with Martina McBride, Gonna Love You Through It, about cancer. I wrote a song with India Ari, Beautiful Day. Life is a journey, it's not a destination. There are no mistakes, just chances we've taken. Lay down your regrets because all you have is now. And that's how I was living. Even drove the pace car in the Indianapolis 500. Felt the need for speed. Everything was going well, and then in 2012, I just became so fatigued. I was immensely tired. I had been getting faithfully my checkups. I went in to see a specialist, and I had a bone marrow test, and this is how, so I was not knowledgeable at all about what I was about to face. So he has the test, and he's going to get the results in a short time, in a few weeks. And I asked him, because I was about to go off on a vacation, and I asked him, I said, Doctor, what's the worst case scenario here? And he said, the worst case scenario is that you're going to need a stem cell transplant, a bone marrow transplant. Had never heard of it. And I just looked at him and I said, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. And he kind of looked at me and he said, you have no idea. Well, let's just wait and see. And then a few weeks later, I was in his office and he said, it's MDS, myelodysplastic syndrome, something that was referred to as pre-leukemia. There was nothing pre about this. I was there with my partner, Amber, and again, we weren't really understanding the journey ahead. And the doctor at the time put all of my statistics in a computer. You love that, you know, that your number, puts it all in there, and he's typing away, and he turns the screen toward us, and there's a graph. There's 1, 2, 3, and there's a little dot between the 1 and 2. And I said, what's that dot? And he said, that's your life expectancy if you don't have a successful bone marrow transplant. After going through the toxic treatment for cancer, I had told my family, if it should come back, I'm good. I'm not going to put myself or anyone else through this again. But the doctor at the time said to me, a bone marrow transplant, a stem cell transplant, is a potential cure. And when he said that, I said that I'm in. And then I had to go about trying to find a donor. We had already gone on the registry, and it didn't look so good, especially when you're ethnic. As my mother says, we got a lot of cream in our coffee. We're a little this, we're a little that, we're a little this, a little that. It's a little difficult to find that genetic match when you got a lot going on. And so my siblings were all tested. One sibling could not be tested because of his own, my brother, our big brother, his health concerns. The sister that's closest in age to me, Dorothy, was not a match. And that left just one sibling. And we had to continue to test and to see. And so I went to my mother because I was told that on the registry it was going to be difficult, that it would help if we had a blood relative that was a match. And so waiting for Sally Ann's returns to come in. And I went to my mother and father. My father had passed away, and my mother and father had met in college sweethearts, married 50 plus years. And I went to her and I said, dear Mom, does Dad have any more kids out there? just checking, just wanna, and she, oh mercy, Robin Renee, he does, I'm just asking, just wanna check it out. And at about that time, the results came back, and Sally Ann was a perfect match. And I asked my dear sister, I said, just because you're a match, you don't have to do this. And I said, is this something you want to do? And she said, sister dear, it's not only something I want to do, it's something that I feel that I was born to do. And as you saw, we had the transplant, and so exceedingly grateful for all the research, all the time, effort, the attention, the immense grace that has bestowed me and gotten me to this point. And it is wonderful to be here. And there's so many people that could be sitting here and sharing their story, because everybody's got something. Everybody's got something. And I have been a firm believer that when fear knocks, and it knocks for all of us, to let faith answer the door. And it was a beautiful combination, as Robin was saying, that interface between science and faith that has brought me to this point. I'd love for my sister Sally Ann and Dr. Giralt to please join me so we can have a discussion about where we are right now. And I never would have thought that our journey would lead us here to the Vatican. Hey, Sister Dear. Yep, right there. The always dapper Dr. Giralt, still with the bow tie.
You know.
Just turn around right there. Okay.
Am I hot? Okay.
Yeah.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
There we go.
We're
I'm
here.
at a disadvantage. I'm the only one who's not a TV anchor.
Well, yes, my sister is a television anchor in New Orleans, Louisiana, and she's going to have to leave shortly because she's going to do a report for this. But as I said, never thought that we would be here right now, and I credit you both. And I also credit the fact that, and I think we have a photo, shortly before my transplant, I was here at the Vatican, and I said a prayer. And the prayer, our mother was very ill at the time, and it was praying for her, but more importantly, just right there, asking for the strength, that whatever would come, that I would have the strength to be able to answer it. And I'm so very grateful to be back here again at the Vatican. Your prayer, Dr. Giralt, you said your mom,
My mother-in-law and my wife were the ones who taught it to me. And since I've been doing this, it really does reflect everything that comes into that moment when, it really is miraculous. I mean, we take cells from Sally and give it into your body. It goes to the heart. From the heart, these cells find the place where they are going to actually grow. And you realize that with that syringe, your body has all the immune system and all the blood cells you need for the rest of your life. And it's the one that's protecting you from your MDS coming back. And you're going to tell me that that's not miraculous. It's incredible.
yeah, it is a miracle. How aware, Sally Ann, were you of the fact that you were able, that people could donate their stem cells in that way?
I wasn't very aware of what was available. And to tell you the truth, I was shocked, as most people are when they hear about someone in their family who is in need of a bone marrow transplant. And when Robin was diagnosed with myelodysplastic syndrome, and she came to us and said that we were her only hope, that her only hope was to find a bone marrow, a matching bone marrow donor. And so when Robin asked, there was no doubt in my mind that we were going to do everything as a family to make sure that Robin had what she needed. But the harsh reality is that only 3 of 10 people who need a bone marrow transplant can actually find a match in their family. So Robin had just a 30% chance of finding that match in her family. And when I discovered one day, Robin called, and after I had been tested, it was very simple, just having that swab. The swab was tested, and Robin called with the news. And I mean, it was like the light came out, that there was hope. And I was so happy to be able to help my sister, because not too long before that, my husband of 25 years, Willie, was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. He was 49 years old, diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer that had metastasized to his liver. And the doctors gave him chemo, and he died 7 months later. I could do nothing for my husband, Willie, but I could do something for my sister, Robin.
And I'm so grateful. How often, Dr. Giralt, do you see MDS, and how does it progress?
So it's very interesting, Robin. MDS is, it's considered usually a disease of elderly patients, of patients over the age of 70. But with the increasing cure fraction with modern chemotherapy, we're actually seeing it more and more as a rare, but definitely, complication of conventional chemotherapy. So we are seeing it more and more. And one of the barriers that had traditionally been for patients that we could cure them with a stem cell transplant. Basically, their marrow is sick, we replace it with the marrow from somebody else. And initially, as Sally said, not having a donor was a big barrier.
But thanks to great advances, Dr. John Kurtzberg will later talk to you about cord blood transplants. And then since the years that you were transplanted, we now have ways that we actually can find a donor for almost everybody, either doing mismatch or with the growth of the unrelated donor registry. So the other barrier has been age, and with new technologies, we now can transplant people over the age of 70. And interestingly enough, over the last 3 years, in the National Registry, there's been more than 1,000 patients over the age of 70. And as you saw that life expectancy, 1 or 2 years, if you're 70 years old, your life expectancy is actually 18 to 19 years. So these were 17 years of life that were being stolen from these patients that we can now give them back to a productive life for their families and friends.
I'm always so humbled when people reach out to me and they share their stories with me. And there was a gentleman just recently, he was in his 70s, and he said he had to fight to be able to have the transplant because he said he wasn't a typical 70-year-old. And so that he fought to have it. It has been successful, and that the institution where he has it, that they're now re-looking and saying, just like you said, you can't put, you just don't know.
It's not how old you are, it's how you carry your age. Okay?
Yes, amen to that.
Yeah.
Oh, what are the complications involved with the transplant?
So I think let's not, we shouldn't minimize this.
No.
This is, as you've eloquently said in your book, a significant procedure with a lot of time and effort from patients, their families, and the healthcare system. I mean, the main complications is resisting the effects of the, even with reduced intensity conditioning, the chemotherapy that patients get that can produce mouth sores, diarrhea. The other big challenge is training the donor cells to live in your body to prevent a disease that we'll later hear about graft versus host disease. And finally, remember those first couple of days? You were a premature newborn baby. And we told you, and you would fight, no, you can't go out. No, you can't do this.
I didn't
no,
do that.
you
I was
can't
a great
do this.
patient. I was so good.
Yeah, you pushed and pushed. But anyway, because you're very predisposed to infections because of the weakened immune system. And I think the main complications that happen during that time are serious infections complications that unfortunately can still lead to death.
But as you said, it's getting better, and we are improving the quality of life, and we're improving also these positive outcomes.
Definitely, it's getting a lot better, and all I can say is, as you've seen in 5 years of research, we have increased access and improved outcomes, far from where we want to be. But if 10 years from now we're still doing it the way we're doing it today, you need to slap me silly.
Yeah. And it's very funny. This is what's so wonderful about this community. It's very collaborative. Everyone wants to share the information that they have, and Dr. Giralt is so well-renowned, and every time he sends me an email, how do you end it? The ball is still in the air.
The ball is still in the air looking for the fences.
Looking for the fences. And Sally Ann, I know that you, with your station, I know that you have to leave to do a live report. How do we continue to get the word out and to let people know about the potential with all the different diseases and conditions that can be treated with the transplant, being a donor?
First of all, I just have to stop and say thank you to all of you who are in the trenches. You are providing the light to people in their darkest hours. I want to thank His Eminence Cardinal Ravasi, for allowing us to come here today to get the word out. And it's, from my point of view as a donor, I want people to know we need you on the National Marrow Donor Registry. There are so many people, I know this as a journalist, who covers stories about people who are looking for a match, and they're holding drives trying to find a match. And so my station, WWL-TV in New Orleans, is doing its part in trying to get the word out to people that Be the Match is the place to go to join the registry. From the donor's perspective, there may be that fear that, oh, this is going to hurt. With the apheresis treatment that is used now, the pain is not there. I mean, I got off the table. It was just like giving blood. And I just want to take away, I want people, and I love it when people come up to me and ask me about being a donor so I can take away the fear that they may have of joining the registry. I thank you for what you are doing, and I thank God for my sister and her recovery. I thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Giralt, for all that you have done for my sister. And just keep on keeping on. As I say, Robin, I was made for this. I was made to be your donor. While it caught me off guard that my fast food body was able to, and my couch potato body was able to provide you the cells that you need. It caught me off guard, but it did not catch him off guard.
Yeah, she was in the line at Popeyes when I called her to tell her. I'm not kidding.
2-piece white spicy with French fries,
That's right.
coleslaw, biscuit, and a Diet Coke.
Yeah, a Diet Coke and that. And Dr. Giralt, do you have any final words you'd like to share?
No, I think I echo what Sally says. I think, this really is a global endeavor in helping patients with blood cancers and other blood disorders. And you realize that, people are giving cells in China today to save lives in Latin America. And cells that are being procured in North America are being, distributed across the world to save children with cancer. And this is only possible because of everybody who's been involved in this. And everybody in this room today will be able to make this field and really, grow tomorrow, not only for patients with blood cancers, but as we'll hear, for patients with diabetes and other disorders. And I want to thank you all and want to thank, Unite for Cure and STEM for Life, because I think this is a great initiative, and obviously the Vatican for supporting this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Giralt. There is no I in team.
There is no I in team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Giralt. Thank you, Sally Ann. I know that you have. Thank you both. Oh, everyone should be so fortunate to have the two of them in your corner. And as I said, my sister is going to now leave so she can do some reporting for notice how she got the plug in for her WWL, Channel 4 in New Orleans. As Dr. Giralt just noted, bone marrow transplants can be remarkably effective. We know that, but they do come with risks. One of the greatest concerns after my treatment was graft versus host disease, better known as GVHD, that Dr. Giralt was just alluding to. It occurs when cells from donated bone marrow attack your own immune system. It's not rare. Up to 70% of transplant recipients develop acute GVHD, which crops up within the first few months of treatment, and 40% get chronic GVHD, the form that appears after crossing that 100-day post-transplant threshold. GVHD can last for years. Sometimes it can even last for a lifetime, and its symptoms range from mildly annoying to disabling to even life-threatening.